Okay, so as I promised previously for today's lesson, we're going to start to talk a little bit about the right hand. But before we do that, I'm going to give you something which will work with that with the left hand, and that is learning how to do what we call hammer-ons and pull-offs. So a hammer-on is when you play a string, and then with the finger of your left hand, you hammer down on that string to get a second note. And then a pull-off is the reverse of that. You play a note that's fretted and then pull off of it to get the sound. When you hammer, the important thing is that you're hammering, that you're actually whacking the string. If you do it softly, it'll just die. So you have to kind of whap it down there pretty good. And you have to just develop technique for doing that. When you pull off, you actually have to pluck the string. So you can pluck it towards your palm or you can pluck it away from your palm. But you have to make the noise with your left hand. Both with hammers and pull-offs, you want the whole sound to come from your left hand. Here's a hammer. Here's a pull-off. And then you could do a hammer and pull. Now, the reason we want to do that is because I want you to practice your 6 chords using your middle finger for hammers and for pulls. First, maybe just hammers, so you'd be able to go F, G, A minor, E minor, and D minor. So just practice them with hammer-ons, but also practice pulls and hammers on any note on the guitar, any of your chord tones. And that'll help you play melodies later. Okay, now the right hand. For the right hand, if you're playing with a flat pick, the first thing you should do is go watch on YouTube, go search Raleigh Brown flat picking, and you'll get a teaser video for one of my Stefan Grossman videos that talks for 10 minutes about the subtle details of how to hold a flat pick. Once you have that in your head, you may be able to ingest it now and you may not. But what we're going to do with it is if you have a flat pick, you're going to take your C chord, you're going to play the A string, the 5th string, and that's a C note, and then strum. And then you're going to play the D string, the 4th string, and hammer. And just keep doing that like this. And then you could do that for the A minor exactly the same way. And then you could do it for the F. You'd move it over a string. Your F note will be on the D string. And your open D string will be for the D minor. So it'll be the 4th string and you'll hammer on the 3rd string. For the G chord, you move it over in the other direction. So you play the low bass, that's your G note. And then you may have to lift this up to not mute this one. So you might have to go. Okay, so that then you want to get comfortable just being able to randomly change these chords. And we'll talk more about other details of that. If you're not going to flat pick, if you're going to finger pick, start out with you doing pretty much the same thing except just with your thumb. Thumb note, strum, thumb note, hammer, strum. And the exact same pattern. okay? Because here's what's happening. When you play a chord, when you're first learning, there's a lot of exceptions to this. When you're first learning, you would like the first bass note you play to be the name of that chord. So on a C chord, this is the A string, and if you go up the scale, it goes A, B flat, B, C, and there's the C note. And then the A minor, it's relative minor, and we'll talk about those in a future lesson. It's relative minor, you have the open A string for an A minor. For an F chord, you have the F note, because this is D, D sharp, E, F. And then you hammer on the string next to that. And I'm asking you to do this all with your thumb right now. You can also strum with the back of your fingers. But I'll tell you why I'm going to do it with the thumb in a minute, okay? And then for the G note is here. You have E, F, F sharp, G. And then you hammer on the next string over. And the E, open E string, is for your E minor. And the reason I'm having you do this all with your thumb is because what eventually will happen is this strum will turn into just hitting a couple strings, or maybe just one string, and your fingers will go in between. But we'll get to that in another lesson. For now, just try and get these hammers and also practice pull-offs. And you can just kind of walk across the strings. And what I'm doing for now is all my second finger hammering at the second fret of whatever string I'm playing. And that'll work especially on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th strings, G, D, and A. Okay, have fun with this.